Hi, everybody. Imperfect setting here. I'm in my basement. So I wanted to respond to your assignments in week 10, your application assignment, and specifically, this really struck me as interesting. Part of the reason for the response. Like 90% of you, which is about 50 students, all use social media as your example of radical individualism, which is uncommon. I'm much more used to COVID, right, examples, which I have a whole video about that I'm not going to bother posting because almost nobody brought it up. Whether it's radically individualistic to not want to wear a mask or not take vaccinations and all that stuff, and I actually have some nuance and distinctions that I throw in there for that, but it's irrelevant. What you all talked about was social media, and so let's talk about social media. Um, I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't satisfied with a lot of the social media examples because they lacked specificity. Social media is this giant, diverse thing. It's platforms, discussion boards, which allow us to interact with one another, to share our ideas either through posts or videos like this one. And so this is social media. I am using social media to communicate to you. Other people out in YouTube can view these if they want. So would you call what I'm doing here, right, radical individualism through social media? Probably not. Now, I have a specific purpose. I'm communicating to you, the students of the KSS. But let's say that I did a different YouTube channel where I reviewed resorts in the Caribbean, okay? Or I talked about tabletop role-playing games or soccer, right? I would be engaging with communities of people that have a shared interest. I wouldn't necessarily be putting forward an ideology or a belief or a claim about what ought to be done. In the broader scheme of things, maybe go to this resort and not this resort. I like this team and not this team. I like this game and not that game, right? So social media is a big thing, and it's very diverse. And to say social media is an example of radical individualism just falls painfully short. Well, okay, let's be a little bit more specific because a few of you were. What about influencers? Even that is a pretty general term. Influence towards what? There's an influencer my kids watch with my wife. They call her Pink Girl Hair. She's a girl with pink hair. She does product reviews and trends on TikTok or online. I've seen a couple of videos. She is an influencer in a way, and she definitely wants people to pay attention to her, and she wants clicks because she generates revenue right through the algorithm, and just like everybody else does on YouTube. So is she radically individualistic? Well, such that I've seen her, no, she's not preaching any separation from social standards, mores, or values. She's not creating this entirely separate morality or framework for herself to the exclusion of others. There's nothing radically individualistic about her. Let's take maybe some of you are in the media news space. You might recognize the name Hassan Piker. I think he's a former Twitch streamer for video games. And he became a very, very outspoken leftist, socialist, thinker and proponent. Whether you agree or disagree with him, is he radically individualistic? Well, he has a set of values that he holds to, and he proposes those ideas to others, and many people share his views, probably more than I'd prefer. But is he radically individualistic? No, I don't think so. And in fact, even though I might disagree with him, what does he say his concern is? He says his concern is for other people and for the well-being of society and for fairness and equal distribution. Again, I don't have to agree with him to say it's not radically individualistic. Let's take someone else who might be on nearly the opposite side of the spectrum, someone like Ben Shapiro, who most of you are probably familiar with. And whether you like or dislike Ben Shapiro, right, he is a strong proponent of conservative principles. He's a very strong proponent of support for the state of Israel. strong defender of the actions of the state of Israel? Is he radically individualistic? Is he promoting a particular set of values or behaviors that buck cultural standards or norms? Are either of these two individuals on either side of the spectrum doing those sorts of things? Whether you agree or disagree with either one of them, I wouldn't call their actions radically individualistic. Could you find some obscure individual who is preaching, against what? They're preaching against the actions or the mores or the sustainability of a culture or a society? Are there people that are talking about tearing down or breaking down societal norms and standards? Maybe Hassan Piker actually does that to some extent. I mean, he is pretty against the whole capitalist free market system. Either way, I tried to come up with a couple examples, whether it's very political or not at all political. Social media is not a good example in and of itself to say radical individualism. There are all the different possible TikTok, Instagram, of which I have no direct exposure. So YouTube is my main platform that I operate on. There's just people trying to make their way and share ideas. And oftentimes they are directly engaged with a particular community on a particular set of ideas. Stuff I talked about, right? Soccer, tabletop gaming, movies, literature, politics, whatever it is, religion. These are all communities of people. And the people that actually put out content on platforms like this for clicks and for revenue, there's nothing radically individualistic about them. Arguably the opposite. They're trying to engage the community. Now, many of you rightly offered a perspective from previous authors, maybe Bella, maybe Putnam, to say something like the much ballyhooed, this is probably Bella, the much ballyhooed online platform and podcast space and all that, it's not a meaningful driver of civic engagement. I think that's probably accurate. Whatever channels I'm watching, whatever I'm commenting on, is it really causing me to engage in the broader society? No, I'm commenting on a keyboard to other people that I'll never see and have no idea who they are, and they have no idea who I am. And so in that scenario, we can talk about social media probably promoting an amount of narcissism or negative antisocial behavior because there are no consequences to your actions. And I suspect, though I can't be sure, that some of you were thinking along those lines. And I can even tell you from firsthand experience, when I spent time on Reddit, which I won't do anymore, even I, who thought critically about my own behavior and along those same lines, I said things, I wrote things that I look back and go, that was reprehensible. I would never do or say those things to someone's face. Why would I do that, right? In another form of communication? It's still disrespectful, and it was still disingenuous sometimes. Those are problems that social media and digital media do pose for us all. So in that sense, I agree, if that's what you were aiming at. But for those of you who just said social media breeds radical individualism, insufficient. Just insufficient. We'll talk more, but not for much longer. So good luck, because you're all about to finish or embark on finishing your service learning project. So best of luck.